broadcast that. I try to say biased.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of. I love it. I love starting out to Nothing But the Game. This is episode 20 here. We have week 1 recaps. I'm so excited that the NFL season has finally started, and I can't wait to just jump into this and just talk about week 1, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was first and foremost. How are you guys feeling?
Wonderful. As a Cowboy fan, as good as I could be.
That's what I was gonna say. We're not as happy as you, Fitz, but we're doing all right.
I can't. Sorry, guys, I can't help it.
You don't have to apologize. We have grown to expect, understand,
yes,
this situation.
Adapt.
It is completely this is a routine season already, really, if you think about it. As a Cowboy fan, this is routine, ready to just accept it. Whatever comes after this, hey, there could be some positive, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with any of that, man. Like even like, it's unfortunate what happened to Dak. But even so, the play calling in general, man, I don't know how, like Zeke's averaging 5 yards a carry, and you just, it's not like you guys were out of the game at all at any point, really. Like
I'll tell you, after watching some of it, and I haven't gone through and watched all 22, but the moments I've been able to catch, there's so much, and I'm not a Dak hater by any means. I love what he's been able to do, but he's such a hot and cold quarterback. And it's like, when he's on it, man, he's just, obviously we've seen the streaks that he can get into. But when you watch him in those modes where you're just missing reads, and yes, it's the first week, but you're a professional athlete.
Right.
Like, these things should be on cue. It is a lot of inconsistencies, but it's not just at the quarterback position. It's a lot of inconsistencies as a team period that you see, and that's the key difference. You can be great, 1 week, but the great teams, the championship teams, are consistent. Yeah, they'll have their slip ups, but they're consistent at least.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they weren't. I'm sorry. Like I'm just trying to find my words here for this. They weren't consistent. The play calling wasn't consistent. It's an overreaction to week 1. And I mean, I'll start off this whole segment as like, one, I hate overreactions. I do hate overreactions, but I really kind of want to start. I'm going to call on CD Lamb here, and I'm going to begin to question, is he a guy? Like, is he the dude, or is he just another, wide receiver that has great speed? And, I almost want to say that about the whole Cowboys team, dude. I feel like every, year in, year out, the hype around the Cowboys, and I understand they're America's team, and it's like the hype is like, oh, Zeke is looking like he's the man. He's the most athletic, and the most athletic and fit that he's been ever. And it's just like another, it's like the fool. What is that? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, or no, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's I don't know. That's where I'm at with the Cowboys. I want to like the Cowboys. I really do. They have talent. I like, Micah Parsons, and I think Tony Pollard's super underrated. Dalton Schultz is a fantastic tight end, but it's like, they're not doing anything special, and they haven't done anything special in the last couple of years. So that's it. That's my rant over on Cowboys.
From the Bills fan.
Right. Well, hold on. For me, I think it's just it questions what Jerry Jones in that front office, like the decisions they made this offseason by letting Mari Cooper train him away and getting rid of Lydell Collins, Connor Williams, the line. So I mean, just certain positions that they could have kept would definitely help this defense. And they drafted Jalen Tolbert. He was a scratch healthy. He didn't even play.
Yeah.
They said that he doesn't know the offense right now. So
It's
I think you could argue that there's some starters or even people on the side calling the plays that don't really know the offense the way they were calling it.
right.
Yeah, I'm not to keep it going on there. It's just a continuous level of underachieving that they've always kind of done. And there's a lot better other teams that we can be talking about.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
well, all right. we will transition to that, right? We're actually we're gonna jump into the power rankings here, but real quick, kind of the piggyback off of the whole Jerry Jones thing and all that stuff. Do you think there's a cap? Do you think there's a cap on Kellen Moore and play calling? Like, do you think that they're not letting him open up the whole playbook? Because the hype around Kellen Moore and how he was, he Jerry Jones didn't want to let him go. He stays on after Jason Garrett leaves, right? Like, there is definitely some hype there. Like, are they just like priming him to be the next, Bill Polian or something? I mean, or I'm trying to think of old time Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith was a Cowboys coach, wasn't he?
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson. Thank you. Yep.
Gotcha.
Thanks. It was out there.
There's radio shows that make their entire living off of trying to figure out what's going on in Jerry Jones' mind. So I'll let them try to figure that part out.
Yeah, let's not be one of them. All right, so let's jump into it here. So Pro Football Focus released their power rankings, and real quick, I'm just gonna ramble through all 32, and I really just want to get your guys' takes on just one or two teams that might be a little too high or a little too low. So 1 through 10, we got Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, the Rams, Green Bay, San Francisco, the Chargers, Philadelphia, Tennessee, and Cincinnati.
Top 10. Yep.
Those are the top 10. And I mean, just real quick, I think Green Bay is too high.
It's massively too high.
That's what I was going to say.
I think Tennessee being higher than. Tennessee
being higher than Baltimore.
Right. Tennessee being higher than Baltimore, Tennessee being higher than Minnesota, Miami, any of these teams that won. I mean, it's kind of, it's ludicrous, man. Tennessee was up. They're up 20-3, and then they lose. They let the Giants, or no, it wasn't 20. It was 20-0, wasn't it? It was 20-0 that they were up.
That game was. Tennessee pulled a typical, not a typical, but they just let off the gas pedal.
I mean, Derrick Henry didn't look like he was full form. They decreased his snaps. You didn't target. I mean, Robert Woods was hardly targeted. It just didn't. They didn't do anything to. I mean, Saquon Barkley put up 165 yards rushing on them. Wasn't that what it was?
I don't even know how much he put on, but I know that he was going off.
Hell yeah, he was.
I was not expecting it.
What were you gonna say, CJ?
Is 164. You were close.
164.
Damn.
I just I don't know, Tennessee losing to the Giants, like on teams like losing here, right? I mean, you're talking San Francisco loses to Chicago. You have Chicago ranked at 26. San Francisco loses to Chicago, and you have them at 6. I mean, take everything out of the picture here, right? Like, forget the rain game, anything like that. Like, it just doesn't add up, man. It doesn't make sense at all to me. But anyways, carrying on here. Let's jump into the next top 10 here. You have Baltimore, Dallas, Minnesota, Miami, Cleveland, Indianapolis, New Orleans, and Denver. Is it just me or am I seeing double digits here?
No, they have some ties up in there.
Okay,
like
I mean,
Denver and New England are 18.
Right.
And I would probably jump all them teams up above Dallas right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a fair.
Even when healthy, the way they were playing and the connectivity that they had. Obviously, they're not healthy with certain players, but like Dak not being out, it's not it's not a pristine situation there.
And I mean, I understand that we're all taking these teams like face value, right? Like these teams are coming off of losses, or these teams are coming off of wins, right? I mean, Indianapolis, I wouldn't put. I mean, Indianapolis tied Houston, that you have ranked at 28. You had Houston ranked 32 to start off the year. Indianapolis ties them, and I mean, to me, that's,
And they got. Well, we'll get there.
They were what? It says here.
Carolina's ranked last. I think their defense is good enough not to have them last.
Is this
right?
quarterback? Am I ranking?
Yeah.
Is this quarterback rankings that we're looking at?
All I did, and I'm seeing the same thing you're looking at. I did go to Pro Football Focus, hit power rankings, and this is the first thing that pops up.
Because Cooper Rush would be ranked 12th.
Yeah, there's no way Cooper Rush is 12th.
Has to be team.
And I feel like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. You're not ranking Mitch Trubisky over Kyler Murray. So
okay, all right. So I just want to power rankings week 2. Yeah, this has to be. This has to be it. The whole quarterback format is throwing me off.
It is, and it's also the places of certain teams is what's throwing me off.
Yeah.
Because you've got the next tier. I know you just ended on Denver, New England, rounding out that bit, but you got like Pittsburgh, Arizona, Washington, Las Vegas, New York Giants, the New York Jets, Detroit, Chicago, Seattle, Houston, Jacksonville, and the last two, Atlanta and Carolina. I find it kind of surprising that you still have San Francisco in the top 6 after looking honestly dull. And Chicago at number 26, whatever that ends up being with all the duplicate numbers. But they had some kind of yes at home. It was a weird weather game. There's all these anomalies that kind of throw it off. But they just had more of a vibe to what they were playing with. Now, I'm not long-term going to be betting on Chicago. But, the comparison of keeping San Francisco still at number 6 is kind of comical to me.
Yes.
And, yeah, keeping them so low.
Yeah, I mean, I find it hard to believe that I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it, guys. I'm sorry. I find it so hard to believe that Detroit, who was, they lost by 3 points to your number 5 or 8 team, right?
Yeah, number 8.
You have Detroit ranked below the Jets.
Yeah, that's.
You have them ranked below
Washington. Yeah, they won, but they did not look satisfactory.
I'm trying to think like who else didn't look great here. New England didn't look good at all. New England did not look like a polished team whatsoever.
They were struggling.
They looked like they were confused. They don't know what kind of direction they want to go with their offense. It was very it was pleasing, to be honest.
Just that I had watched through the game fully there, and I was just not. I mean, honestly, neither team really impressed. One thing that stood out to me was Miami. The thing that we said, I don't know how long ago we said it, what show, but the way that Tua is going to look good is the yak. And oh my gosh, the yak was insane.
Yep.
Like insane. But then New England looked like there was no chemistry. The run game looked look decent, but I think it may be more on the Miami side of it, like where they actually get some some yards, and that two-headed Harris and Stevenson could be fun. But it's the typical New England pull your hair out. What kind of player are you going to be starting?
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I think Mac Jones had one really good throw downfield to Kendrick Bourne.
Overthrew a few.
Yeah,
missed a few options that he had open.
So surprisingly, I mean, Jonnu Smith looked like he was back into regular season form, though. I really, I wasn't too thrilled last season when New England signed Jonnu Smith. I wasn't thrilled for Jonnu Smith. I felt like that he was going into, especially when they turned around and signed Hunter Henry too. Like I felt like, because he was coming off of a super productive year. So maybe they narrowed it down to like, hey, Jonnu Smith's our guy. Hunter Henry's not really, he's not really there, and we're just overpaying him at this point. Before we start kind of rolling into some fantasy football talk here, is just anything that really stood out to you guys?
I like the way Minnesota played against Green Bay. I thought their offense was clicking. Aaron Rodgers and the young receivers wasn't clicking, and I don't think Sammy had a great game. So overall, I just I think it's going to be Minnesota Detroit winning out that division. So
I will echo that. I'll be right there with you, waving either one of those flags. Another thing that stood out for me, and it maybe not be a standout, but I feel like New Orleans might be a little bit more sneaky. I know if Atlanta gave them, a harder time, and they're whatever that might be. I think that this might be a week 2 is going to be a very big change. Like them going up against Tampa Bay is going to be a really big proving point. But that Michael Thomas, honestly, was like the biggest question mark. He looked. His hands. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, he got his yards. It was how he got his plays and how he was getting it.
Yeah.
He looked physical. He looked. He didn't look like he was just out there trying to collect a paycheck. He was actually getting it, and that was probably the biggest thing that of some of the games I had been watching, I enjoyed seeing.
Yeah. My favorite. I think I'm gonna. The Devontae Adams, Derek Carr connection. I mean, I know it's not really new to them because they played in college together, but like, I'll tell you what, man, I mean, they were vibing, dude. They were vibing. They looked.
It looked like they were getting the band back together.
Yeah, no, exactly, dude. Like that's exactly what they were exciting to see. We're gonna touch base a little bit later about Denver. We have Denver's involved in one of our pick'ems, and I would like to dive into this past game when we get into that. So moving forward, I don't really want to call it Stardom Sit 'em because everybody calls it Stardom Sit 'em. So maybe we call it like Yays and Nays or something, or just
Yays
and Nays.
Yeah. It's like an old European or old U.S. Senate type thing, like, and the Yays have. Maybe, I like it. Let's do it.
Maybe we can expand on this segment in the future. We can all hold up signs of yays or nays, like somebody names a player, and I mean that'd be a great. But I want to get into some stardoms and some sit-ems this week. Who you guys want to start, and who do you want to sit? And CJ, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. So if I was on the Rams and I had
son of a bitch
Cam Akers, I would be sitting him right now because I had him and I started him. I think he had like 3 or 4 carries and 0 yards. And Henderson actually took the load, and I think they're going to stick with him until Cam Akers can prove he can take that starting position back. So I would sit Cam Akers and start Henderson.
Hell yes. I love that pick. I wish I picked it.
Okay, I thought he took mine, so that's why I started it off with son of a. But go ahead, Evan. What's yours, dude?
And I'll jump on that real quick. I think dynasty-wise, Cam Akers, I've been low on him, put him a little bit higher because I see so many other things, and I, consciously was like, man, maybe I'm missing something. I don't think he's got an ability, but there's just something that's not there. So yeah, I even see trade him if you can in a dynasty league, man. Try to see what you can get for him. I'll stick with the sit him thing, and it might come off a little bit different. It's a Thursday night game. A player that I would not be starting on the Kansas City Chiefs, Juju Smith-Schuster. I think that yes. So, man, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I believe we have them up on our pick'em games, so I won't go too far into that. But I think it's going to be a more auxiliary side of things, maybe some more dumped down CHE, whatever, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You might see even Isaiah Pacheco. God, the running back last names are killing me right now. But I think those guys might see a little bit more, and even Kelsey, some of these more safety blankets. Juju has, in the last few years, has shown an on and off, hit and miss propensity. Right. And I'm not putting that, trying to carry that past into the new here, but I'm also saying that the fact that I think the Chargers are going to get at. They paid money for that line. They paid money on that defense. They're going to get at their division rival right here. They're going to come after them. And I think it's going to be a lot more of these quick. Andy Reid's going to come up with maybe some gadget plays, slot stuff. And I'm not saying Juju, like if you're flexing him, that's fine. I just wouldn't put him as if I only had a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 option. I'm putting him maybe in my 26, 28 range on the weekly side of things. So
who's your stardom then?
Oh, man, you just want me to throw both of them out here all at once.
Yeah.
Fine. Golly. All right, well,
my
stardom.
Go ahead.
No, yeah. So my stardom, maybe a little bit of a cop-out, but I liked him going into the season and didn't really care for the starting running back with Elijah Mitchell down. I think Jeff Wilson is an outstanding start. He's they're going to utilize him a lot. I think oh my gosh, my notes are frozen up on me here. I can't even remember who they're playing this week at this moment whenever I put down the notes. Seattle, yes, okay. Javonte Williams looked like they were running well on him, and he has a lesser degree style of Javonte Williams he's got some speed to him, he's got some physicality to him. I think he'll be a top 24 RB this week, and it'll be a great start to get him off the waiver wire potentially.
All right.
And it's supposed to rain again in Seattle.
Bam! Yeah.
Poor Trey Lance, man. This dude can't catch it.
San Fran, but either way, I heard it was supposed to rain.
This kid can't catch a break. So I'm CJ. Your sit-em was Cam Akers, right? Sit Cam Akers, start Darrell Henderson. So you hit us with the double whammy there. That was pretty.
Yeah. I missed that. I didn't hear that the start was Darrell Henderson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was my bad.
So CJ hitting us with the old classic, go with this guy and not that guy. I like it, dude. I like it a lot, honestly. I mean, Darrell Henderson was obviously, I had somebody texting me today about a trade for him, and he was offering him something. I was like, I wouldn't trade him. So far he's getting RB1 reps. Like, why would you trade him? Like, I just
matter of his durability.
Yeah, I'm going to take a unique approach here at my stardom. And let me just make sure I have my matchups.
Is it a kicker? No, it's a tight end. I know it's you. It's a tight end.
It's not a tight end, but I do want to talk about a particular tight end. Maybe we'll catch that at the end of the show. So my stardom this week is Zay Jones of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
Yeah. So last week, Davis Mills puts up like 240, 2 touchdowns against Indianapolis Colts. They got the jive in there in the second half, and I'm thinking it's gonna. Or I'm sorry, they played the Washington Commanders. This week they're playing Indianapolis Colts at home, where they somehow, some way, they always manage to outplay the Colts home, right? Division, like Chris. I mean, the connection between Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk, and Zay Jones. So like he looked like he was on the same page with his wide receivers, and I don't think either one of those guys differentiate themselves from RB1s, or not RB1s, wide receiver 1s and 2s, right? And that's kind of a Doug Peterson thing. Even the year that they went to go win the Super Bowl, like, they had guys like Alshon Jeffrey, but they also had like Nelson Aguilar and these, their wide receiver core was very on pace with each other. So my start this week is Zay Jones.
Like it.
I think it's very interesting, yes. and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to take some shots downfield with Zay, but my sit-em, and I know this is gonna just sound crazy, and my sit-em is Christian McCaffrey.
I'm going to go ahead and leave this podcast.
You can't, though. I mean, like...
Yeah, let's hear why.
So, the Giants' run defense was spectacular last week against Derrick Henry. They played extremely well. And to just kind of cap it off, like, offensively, the Carolina Panthers did not look like they were on the same page at all with one another. I mean, I understand that there's such a huge upside with Christian McCaffrey, and any normal fantasy football player would, you're crazy to bench RB1. You're crazy to bench RB1. I get it, but I'm just telling you, something is telling me in my gut, this is strictly a Fitz's gut feeling here. Sit Christian McCaffrey, man. I don't see anything jiving there at all. They're great at blitzing. I mean, their linebackers were filling the gaps so quick, dude. The Giants' run defense looked legit, and I just have zero faith in the Carolina Panthers after the performance that I saw against them, against the Cleveland Browns. So, call me crazy. I know. That's what I'm here for.
But then to expand on that real quick, just take my stardom and your sit-em. If you were able to snag like Jeff Wilson off the waiver wire, you already had him. Would you put him in that range, or you put like Christian McCaffrey more in a flex spot, like outside of the top 24 this week?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I mean, listen, this is probably. I mean, I probably cheated on this segment. Okay, I mean, you're not gonna not play Christian McCaffrey. I'm just saying he's not gonna get, he's not gonna get the value that you're expecting here at RB1 this week. That's just my, that's what I'm saying. So,
in that bold prediction, I like it.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're doing. We're ending that segment with a bold prediction. I did want to jump into some daily fantasy like value for this week. CJ, you're welcome to jump in on this. I know you got some. I know you're up there playing it with me. But there's just a few value picks that I want to talk about that I just can't believe is there and it's available.
Do we call this like Fitz's fantasy freeloaders? Like it's these free, cheap end, low end DFS players?
Yeah. So the two guys. That's a great. I mean, I think we can work on the name a little bit, but yeah, I like that.
Yeah, freeloader sounds a little bit rough, but yeah, I clearly don't do that daily. So,
a few things that so I noticed like last week, like big lineups where they were flexing wide receivers versus running backs. I've always been a running back flex guy. But as you know, we've talked about this in the off season, like the league is shifting and there's just a ton of value at wide receiver and it's hard not to flex a wide receiver. I get it. I made the mistake of flexing Dameon Pierce last week in which, he got out touched by Rex Burkhead. I just saw great value there. Your RB1 going into the off season or your RB1 going into week 1 and you're listed at $4,800 on DraftKings, like you can't not spend that. You know what I mean? With that being said, two wide receivers that are coming in really cheap this week. Allen Robinson, if you don't think that Allen Robinson is going to get his targets, and if you're basing target shares solely off of week 1, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. So Allen Robinson is coming in at I had this and I had it wrong. It's 55, right?
Yep.
Allen Robinson's coming in at $5,500, right? So to put it in perspective for you, Michael Pittman Jr. was 5,500 last week. Michael Pittman Jr. went off.
Ooh.
Right. Allen Robinson, the upside there, like the value is absolutely there. You spend that money on Allen Robinson, you could flex him probably or put him in at wide receiver 3, but he's there. Another cheaper wide receiver that I like, and I think his value now goes up this week, simply because of the situation in San Francisco. I know they have Jeff Wilson Jr., but I'm anticipating Debo rotating back to the running back position, which is then going to open up Brandon Ayuk because the George Kittle is still very questionable. So those are 2 wide receivers that I really like this week. I think they both offer huge upside, and I think Brandon Ayuk's targets, I definitely think he gets his targets this week because of the way that Debo is going to be utilized in the absence of Elijah Mitchell. So just an interesting take there. I mean, there are some stacks. There are some stacks out there that, I think are really good. I do like Kyler Murray stacking with like Marquise Brown and Zach Ertz. I know that he didn't have like a great performance last week against against Kansas City. I think this is more or less a Las Vegas controls the game, and Kyler Murray and company, Arizona and company are trying to keep pace. And I think that's where a situation where stacking those guys, Kyler Murray and Marquise Brown and Zach Ertz, I think it's very doable. You can build some pretty solid rosters around that. So those are Fitz's freeloading takes for the week, right? Is that what we called it?
Yeah. And don't forget about Cincinnati's defense. They're very cheap.
Cincinnati's defense, very cheap, playing the Jets.
No,
Cowboys.
The Cowboys. Damn, who's playing
Cowboys?
I'm so bad, man. I'm like, why do you guys even have me on this show?
I think the Jets play the Browns.
Browns,
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. So the Browns defense is expensive. My bad. That's the orange that threw me off, right?
Ohio. Yeah.
2,600. So.
Man, yeah, I would jump all over that. I don't even know what we're DFS strategies, but that sounds cheap as all get out.
Man, I would love to jump into DFS strategies because it is. After 7 years of playing this stuff, it's finally starting to make sense to me. So,
all the money that's been invested, it's actually going towards knowledge. At least you're actually learning it.
Yeah. So here we are. We are CJ. Do you have the overall records from last week?
Hold on.
We're gonna jump into our pick'ems for this week. We have 5 games picked out, and CJ's gonna have our records here for us. I feel like we did really well. Yeah,
we're all tied.
I feel like CJ did. Oh, really? Yeah. I can't remember what had happened, but I remember.
So I took the Rams.
Oh, that's right.
And then, but
we took Detroit.
So we all lost that one. We all took Miami. Good pick. I took Philly over Detroit. And then we all took Minnesota.
Look at us, man. We all took Minnesota.
Hey. What was it? Wait, so we went 4 for 5, everybody? Or I guess 3 for 5.
3 for 5, yeah.
3 for 5.
So we're all what? So we're all 3 and 2 then?
60%.
So we're all 3 and 2. So let's see if we can mix this up a little bit this week. Evan, you were getting ready to hype up Thursday night football, so why don't you take it away? So we have the Chargers
and Chiefs.
Yeah, we have the Chargers at Kansas City.
Yes, it's going to be super fun. In full transparency here, I'm a Dallas guy, born and raised out Texas. My adoptive team, though, at the age of like 6, was the Chargers. And it's funny because at the age of 6, this was about the time I liked the Chargers. Put in perspective, that was about 94. So that's actually when the Cowboys were good. And I was a Chargers fan. I was picking them as a little kid based off of uniforms. But so I love my Chargers. I love what they've got going on. I love the line that they have, defensive line, and I love honestly the defense that they have rocking. Period. That being said, Kansas City at Kansas City. I know I just said sit Juju Smith. I'm going with Kansas City on this one. It's just more of a gut trying to set my bias aside type thing. That's probably why I'm going with. I can't give you any legit reason as to why it's exactly Kansas City as opposed to. I just think it's going to come that way. It's home. If it was home at Chargers, I would probably end up going with them.
Well, here I'll go next, Fitz.
Yeah, I'm responding back to a comment. Blitzfreeze did not like my my McCaffrey take. He laughed at me, which I anticipated. I knew saying that out loud, people weren't gonna like it. But
and thank you for everybody listening to holding him accountable for the blasphemy that he spills.
Go ahead with your take there. I'll respond to him in chat here.
All right, so hold on one second.
Did I throw you off with my Kansas City pick there?
Oh, me? No. I'm just trying to get my line up back up.
Yeah,
All right, so last year the Chargers went into Kansas City and beat them. I think they're going to do it again. And that defensive line is going to cause havoc because they have 5.5 sacks last week against Vegas. So I think Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa is going to do the same thing. They're going to pressure Mahomes to get in his face, and I like the Chargers to upset.
Did you guys see?
Is that an upset? I'm figuring it was, but I haven't looked at the lines.
It is an upset. It's not by much though. It's got to be. I think they're +3 or +4.
It's +4.
But pretty much the home differential.
Yeah, just a little bit more favored. It's Kansas City's favored by 4. So, just a little bit of a take. So I hope my wife's not watching. I'm gonna take Kansas City. And I think the performance that we saw Patrick Mahomes on Sunday there is the most flawless that we've seen him in the recent years. Like the way that he was the distribution of the ball, man, just to everybody. It was like to me, just overreactions on week ones. I said that I hate them, but to me, the Kansas City Chiefs look way better than they have in any previous year because of their distribution, like the distribution of the football and the numerous talented players that they have, like versus the Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, and whoever else is on that team benefits from those two guys being, here you got Juju. I think MVS is like to counter your Juju start, your Juju sit. I am starting MVS this week.
Oh yeah.
Just to comment on what you were saying, CJ, about the sacks. Did you see the reverse where that Derek Carr ends up having to block Joey Bosa.
God, dude.
Oh my god. Joey Bosa like ate him, dude. He like just it was just
His team had like four or five turnovers, though.
oh man, it was yeah, I mean I think this is gonna be a
He's
great
probably like, this is a gift wrap. Normally you're trying to evade me. Now I get to go head on head with you.
it was you know, and to piggyback off of what CJ said, I'm pretty sure the Chargers beat them in overtime at home last year. And I would not be surprised if it's the same sort of game. I expect this to be a huge shootout, dude. This is going to be an extremely exciting Thursday Night Football. I can't wait. Moving on, we got the next game is next game is Miami Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
Man,
Go ahead, dude. Take it away.
You're going for it.
I'm gonna like, you know what? I'm gonna go with the home team. I'm gonna go with Baltimore. I think Lamar is gonna have to put this game on his back, and I mean even Bateman and Devin Durnay, they looked outstanding last week. So, but Miami's got a really good secondary, which maybe this is the Lamar injury thing. So I'm gonna go Baltimore.
What are you?
Man,
what
you and I, no, I'm laughing at the struggle there because yeah, Miami does have a great, not great, really good secondary.
Yeah.
And but then also Bateman and Duvernay did do great. Bateman, I've loved him for a while now, and he's actually coming through for me in my best ball leagues where I've had him stashed in some places. I think he's going to have an awesome season in comparison to, you know, like where his potential is there. But those two guys going up against a good defense, a really good secondary, I see the struggle because those aren't like some guys that really strikes fear in a secondary. Now they can, and they can underwhelm, you know, come in there and overachieve or do whatever. But I'm going to take Miami on this one. And it is, Miami did look great against New England. But I think that Miami, what they have at their disposal on the offensive side is going to, I think there's that growth, that week one growth in college football, that, you know, that change from week 1 to week 2, teams that grow. I think the coaching that Miami has over there now, I think it is a growing aspect. This isn't a coaching team or a coaching group that will actually fall short. I think they're actually going to start building upon their success. And I think Miami's going to start taking it. I can see them pulling off the next 2-3 weeks of wins to start off the season.
Man, I'm in a pickle with this one. I think the Kyle Fuller injury is a big deal. On the contrary, I've seen Miami struggle against mobile quarterbacks, and I saw success from tight ends. So I think I'm gonna roll with Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews here, and I think it's them. I think they put this game on their backs, but I don't know. You let Lamar get going against a team like Miami, where they start kind of questioning, like, how do they defend this? Like, they could run away with the game. So I'm going to take Baltimore here. They can take Baltimore. So you're odd man out on that one, Evan. It's good.
I like it.
Let's mix it up.
I gotta make some points somewhere.
Next close game here, we have New England and Pittsburgh. If I'm not mistaken, Pittsburgh is favored.
No, New England is.
New England is favored by 1.5, right? Or now it's by 2. Now it's 2. The line is shifted. It was 1.5, and now it's 2. Just by going off of what Pittsburgh's defense did against Joe Burrow. I mean, I understand it was week 1, but Joe Burrow is, you know, your reigning AFC champion there. Like, granted, you know, Jamar Chase lit it up and everything like that, but Mac Jones, one, New England has nobody comparable to Jamar Chase, and Mac Jones is not Joe Burrow. I'm just anticipating an even bigger stomping from Pittsburgh's defense. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense was just unreal last week, dude. Unreal. Yeah. And I don't think the TJ Watt thing impacts them nearly as much as, it would maybe a team that doesn't, have a strong secondary. But like Minka Fitzpatrick's, he's everywhere back there. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh here. I'm going to take Pittsburgh home. I don't know how Pittsburgh's favored. I'm not favored at home.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. So I'm taking Pittsburgh.
And make it short and sweet. I hate to make it sound like this, but I agree with everything you just said. That's kind of my thought process on there. I don't know. Pittsburgh is going to be able to pull something out, and they can ride what they had done last week over a much more inferior New England team.
Yeah.
I got a question. Do you guys know if Najee Harris is playing? I don't think he is.
I don't think he is.
Either way, I'm still picking Pittsburgh with that defense. So
yeah, it's just
yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh too. I was just curious if he was. So Jaylen Warren might be a potential pickup if you don't have him in your.
Yeah.
I thought he had a really strong preseason, and they're always, Pittsburgh's always been kind of infamous for this. Like RB2, their RB2 is always very, very strong, a very strong play, and really, I mean, if you guys remember back in the Willie Parker was a backup who emerged.
I love him.
Willie Parker is probably one of my favorite running backs of all time, dude. Like, I loved watching that guy run. And he was an RB2 that emerged out of nowhere behind the bus, and it's just, and then they kind of shifted to this RB1 carries the entire load, and I just don't think that you can do that anymore. So I'm excited. I think Pittsburgh wins this. That's a strong bet.
And Trubisky didn't look too bad. I mean, he didn't turn it over, so
right.
He did enough to win the game.
That's all you need your quarterbacks to do, Okay, so we started a little late here. I'm looking.
Yeah, we started a bit late there.
So I'd say we got about 10 minutes left in the show. I really want to talk about this game, and then we still have we have two more games. So matter of fact,
more, yeah.
We have two more games to talk about. I want to save the Houston-Denver game for last. So I want to talk about now. The next game is Tampa Bay, New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to take that.
I know. So I will. I'm going to take the Saints. Because the Bucs do not play well in the Superdome. They haven't the last couple of years. I think that the chemistry that you saw with Michael Thomas, James Winston, I might have been sleeping on the Saints. I'm not gonna lie. That's my own overreaction for week one is I might have been sleeping on the Saints. I would like to see Alvin Kamara get a little bit more involved, but I do like how they were utilizing what they have. Taysom Hill finally acknowledging that he's just a weapon. They've been using him, but I don't know how Atlanta didn't recognize Taysom Hill's in the he's not going to get the ball. There's no way they're going to give them the ball. I don't know how you don't recognize that, but here we are. I'm going to take the Saints. I think the Saints play the Bucs really, really well in the Superdome, and Tom Brady, he hates playing the Saints. So that's where I'm going. I'm riding the Saints here.
I'm going to go right there with you. The Saints defense, I think, is still going to give them some struggles. The only thing that's leaving me up here is I know that Kamara is on the injury list right now with some rib stuff. I don't know if they're going to, hold him back a little bit, have a snap count on him. I haven't looked too far into the reports going in, but that's the only question mark that could be up on there. Godwin being out, is a big miss for him, for Tom Brady. And I know Brady will still find the next man up. He's the epitome of the next man up. He'll find another wide receiver. Scotty Miller will come out of nowhere and just be the number one wide receiver this week. But it is like you said, it's in New Orleans. He hates playing in there as much as he wants to get his revenge for what they did to him last year. I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh man. I'm gonna, I'm gonna make it fun. I'm gonna go Tampa Bay. And
you have.
We lost him. He'll come back.
Then you have.
Oh, dude, the face that it's frozen on right now is. Just... Hold on, Evan. We can't hear anything you're saying.
Okay, say it again.
No, I'm joking.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stick with Tampa Bay. Yeah, I'm gonna play the villain in this one again. So, what you want to do the Kyle?
No, we got to talk about Houston, Denver.
Oh, I thought you want to do that one last, so that's why. All right.
Oh, yeah, no. Then we'll do Cabal, and then we'll. So I want to talk about Houston, Denver. I think this game says a lot more than what it's saying on paper. I think this is a huge stepping stone for Houston, and I think it might actually tell us who the Denver Broncos are. And I don't think the Denver Broncos, just based off of their Seattle game and maybe the inexperience of Nathaniel Hackett, like, it looked like the most conservative game plan ever, and it was not exciting or exhilarating at all. I mean, you go out, you make this big move, you bring in Russell Wilson, you have two potential wide receiver ones, you have one of the most dynamic young running backs in the game, and it was so vanilla, dude. Like, and I think this game right here is going to say a lot about both of these teams. If Denver comes out with this vanilla game plan again, you can almost anticipate it all year long. Whereas I think Houston took huge strides forward by just going toe-to-toe with the hype that was surrounding the Colts. Davis Mills looked good. Brandon Cooks looks like he's in mid-season form.
Always, yeah.
Clearly, OJ Howard is, the acquisition was huge for them, because they found utilization for him, which is red zone. This dude had 2 red zone touchdowns, man. That's great value there. And if that's the role that he plays on this team, like, watch out, because that's a big dude, man. He's a big dude. So I'm going to take Houston here just for the story. I'm going to take Houston for the story because
if it's 10 points, we'll give you the points.
If it's 10 points, we'll give me the points. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
It's the biggest spread, right?
Right. It's a huge spread, and I think it's a huge spread for all the wrong reasons, honestly. So, yeah, I'm going to take Houston here. Give me the points.
Ooh, man.
I like it.
You got a steal right there.
Are you taking them, Evan?
No. So I was going to go. No, so I was actually going to go on the realm of, I think this is a lot closer than what the point spread shows. But I'm still going to be on the Denver side of Russell Wilson, home, his first game in Denver. He's going to want to get out there, demonstrate what he can do. I don't think it's a blowout. If it was points on there, I'd probably be taking Houston on that. But I think I'm on both sides. I'm a massive Davis Mills fan, and I'm a huge Javonte Williams fan.
Yeah.
And I think Javonte Williams is, as much as this is Russell Wilson's kind of big show, I think Javonte Williams is actually the thing that's going to kind of drive this thing home. He's going to demonstrate why he should be considered in the top, 5 running backs on fantasy wise.
And I agree with everything. I'm gonna take Denver too. I just think, it's in Denver. That defense is gonna be ready to go. But it's gonna be a close game. So, but I'm still gonna take Denver.
And real quick, can we talk about Denver's tight end? We weren't going to get out of the show. We weren't going to get out of the show without talking about a tight end here. Can we just talk about how athletic this Andrew Beck is?
Mm-hmm.
And where the hell did he come from?
He's not a tight end. I think he's their fullback technically.
Is he? Maybe he's like an H-back then?
I think he's listed on Denver's roster as their fullback. But he has the number of a tight end. He plays like a tight end. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I mean, just that opening drive and like how involved he was in that one catch that he made, man, where he laid out for it. I was just like, who is this guy? Like, he looks fast. He looks physical. Like, I might just go pick him up just to see, like, yeah, I have Andrew Beck on my roster.
I wish whenever he was in college, he played like that. And he showed flashes of it in college. Whenever he was playing, he's, by the way, a Texas Longhorn. He played pretty well. It's just, and he was always seen as athletic. I think maybe they found his little niche here in Denver.
Yeah, I mean, man, I just want to compliment him as an athlete in general. He was, to me, one of the most.
He was fun to watch.
He was extremely fun to watch.
Even that touchdown they got him, you clearly could tell that they were trying to get him that touchdown. It didn't count because of a flag,
right?
But they were trying to get him involved in a very Kansas City kind of way.
Yeah. All right, CJ, we're coming up on the end of the show here, man. Hit us with your kapow. This is CJ's upset pick of the week.
So, obviously, I'm 0-1. Jacksonville couldn't carry me to the home.
So close.
But it was close. Exactly.
So close.
So this week, I am taking the Minnesota Vikings over Philly. I know they're playing Monday night in Philly. But, hold on. I lost my my little notepad that I got. So, yeah. So, it's going to have, it's going to be a shootout in my eyes. I think Cousins and Jefferson, Jefferson's looking like the number one receiver right now. And then you got Jalen Hurts, who connected to A.J. Brown. They had a great game. But I think the key of this game is going to be the Phillies' run defense. They gave up 181 yards. Swift had 15 carries for 133, but he averaged 9.6 yards per touch. I think this is going to turn into a Dalvin Cook game, and I think that's how they're going to beat Philly in Philly. So let's go Minnesota.
All right.
I like
fingers
crossed over here. I'm hoping that's the case.
I like that take, man. I do. I think I'm more excited just for Justin Jefferson's,
Man, I'm so happy I took him on my number one pick.
Right. I'm still holding on to him. I've traded all my wide receiver ones besides him, and he single-handedly won me my league my matchup last week. So,
man.
But that's pretty much going to do it for this week. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I just want to go on note here saying that everybody better come back and tune in next week after my Christian McCaffrey take is legit. Okay, I just want to say that. Okay, this better be the go-to spot because Fitz knows everything. So
touchdowns, I'm gonna love.
What? Say
or I said if he has over 100 yards and like a couple touchdowns, this is gonna be hysterical.
I'll quit. I'll show.
We'll have a
brown paper bag again. I will.
We'll have a new segment next week, which will be Fitz floundering picks.
Oh, there you go. Fitz his F ups or something this weekend.
Oh man.
Oh man. But yes, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube. Like our Twitter page at NBTG_podcast. As the season starts to gear up, we will be putting out more and more information, and so be sure to check us out. And we're live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So we will see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.